Today on the show we have a man who started life in the Punjab, studied at MIT, and then moved to Britain to start a business and became a billionaire. He is Lord Swraj Paul. Swraj Paul is a billionaire steel magnate based in Britain. He started life in Punjab, losing his father when he was just 13 years old. He credits his success to hard work and values instilled by his father. It was hard work that got him into America's prestigious MIT studying engineering. But it was when he was working for his family business in Calcutta, his daughter fell ill, and he came to Britain for treatment. She succumbed to leukemia, but he couldn't bring himself to leave the city where she died, and started his steel business. It made him a billionaire. He has received numerous awards and 15 honorary degrees from all over the world, and became an independent peer in the House of Lords in 1996. He is also a philanthropist, sharing his wealth with many charities. The one closest to his heart is the Ambika Paul Foundation, set up in memory of his daughter. Welcome very much. Your life has been an incredible journey, from the Punjab to MIT, starting a business, growing it. Can you tell me a bit about that journey?
Mandy, first of all, nice to talk to you, and may I congratulate ZTV to start this kind of a series. It's too long a journey I was born and brought up in Punjab and partly studied there, and as you said, went to MIT, and just a lot of it has been just persevering, working hard, follow the things which I on my journey learned from people. For example, the first thing, when I was very, very young, because I lost my father when I was 13. So before that, the dignity of labor. He always stressed on us, he had a small business, that we should consider ourselves no different from the workers and the laborers who worked with him. And that gave us a lot of sense of value. Then I was lucky enough to go to MIT. MIT, the thing which I really learned, yes, I went there to be trained as an engineer, which I enjoyed, though haven't used that much personally with my own hands, but certainly I am in the engineering industry. But the greatest thing I MIT learned was always strive for the best. There isn't a second best if you can help it. And that has come a long way. Immediately after finishing at MIT, I went to India back and was in my family business. And I was stationed in Calcutta. I got married in Calcutta, had most of our children there. And then we also had another daughter who fell ill. And destiny brought me to London. I brought her for treatment. Then we lost her. And that was a very sort of difficult experience to lose a child right in front of you. I decided what in India we call take sannyas. You leave the worldly life, lose interest in doing any work, and go into meditation. And I spent almost a year not doing anything, just reading philosophy, meditate. You can call it making peace with my own self. And then after that, maybe because of meditation, maybe because reading lives of people, part of them who have had their own suffering, which nobody knew it even, it gave me a desire that, okay, you were not born to do nothing, and get on with doing something. I also wanted to stay here because I wanted to stay where my daughter had died. I still live in the same flat. Perhaps I am the most immobile person in whole of Britain for last 51 years, right in one flat on Portland Place. Then God has been kind. I started some work, and I have been lucky.
Well, you started the steel business in the 1960s in Britain. What were the challenges you faced? Was it difficult to be an Indian businessman at the time?
It was very difficult because I think there was an attitude that people, immigrants who come, etc., they are all right as workers, but not as having factories to run. My whole life has been in the factories. As I told you, when I was born, my father has offices on the ground floor. We lived on the first floor, and the factory was the backyard. So that's where my upbringing was. I enjoyed the factory. So this thing came, lot of obstructions in way of would he succeed, would he make anything. I can't even work out why they thought. I had gone to MIT, I knew engineering just as much as anybody else. But I think the good thing also was, once I made it, they give you that respect. So this doesn't last lifetime. There was a lot of things whether I will survive or not, but I did, and I am still there.
So now you're a peer in the House of Lords. Why did you want to get involved in politics?
I didn't get involved in politics, I can assure you. And Lords are not appointed on the basis of politics. But I always had interest in politics, whether it was in India, whether it was there, but never into active politics. Because, you see, I was born and brought up in a family who were very involved in the freedom struggle in India. Rather, my name Swraj comes from that background. Mahatma Gandhi, when I was born in 1931, Mahatma Gandhi had launched his Swraj movement. Swraj was the slogan of Mahatma Gandhi, and it means freedom. So since that was the household word, that is why my family named me Swraj. In 1942, my older brother went to jail again with Mahatma Gandhi's movement of Quit India. So that's the background I was born. And then in Britain, I joined the Labour Party because I believed in social justice, and also in the manufacturing industry, because I believed and still believe, though in Britain it has become unfashionable, manufacturing industry, that manufacturing industry provides the best jobs to the people, and whether you manufacture steel products or manufacturing anything, but manufacturing is the prime industry for the best jobs and more permanent jobs. You can't easily get rid of somebody and bring in a new one. For training them, it takes a long time. So I got interested in the Labour Party. I got interested in that Labour Party must be more open to all sorts of people instead of just the workers. To me, everybody is a worker, whether you own the factory or whether you work in the factory, because that's what you get paid for, your work. I am not a believer that I want to be rich, but I take pride in the fact that I am a worker. I was delighted when my union made me an honorary member of the thing. To me, that was a great reward. So, in 1996, in my view, a great Prime Minister, John Major, who was a lovely man and who is a wonderful person, rang me up that he would like to send my name for a peerage. Would I accept? I say, I am very honored. And once you are in the Lords, I don't make that many speeches which are political. I mean, I make speeches what were good for the industry, good for human beings, and good. I try to make speeches on subjects which I know. Sometimes I get criticized by the press that I don't make speeches, too many. But I don't consider that is a profession a Lord has. Lord has a profession to contribute to the well-being of the country.
Well, you were the first Deputy Speaker of the House of Lords of Indian origin. What is it like to break down barriers?
Oh, wonderful. I mean, not only that, even today I am still the non-Indian origin who was a Deputy Speaker. This was a great honor, and I enjoyed the thing. I learned a lot from that. Though, I must tell you one thing, that Lords is the only parliament where the Speaker doesn't speak. There is no other parliament. All you do is, if you want to control the House, which is very often because it's the job of the members to control the House, you stand up, then everybody must sit down.
Well, you've been also a big advocate for increasing ties between the UK and India, particularly in the field of education, and it said you believe that India could be a hub for international education. Why so?
I think, first of all, people forget that Britain and India have the closest relations, and it's a great tribute to the people like Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi and so these leaders at that time, that in spite of all the hostility, etc., when we were fighting for freedom, in 1947, Nehru did one speech on the day we got the freedom, that from today British are our friends, our hostility is over. And people listen to that and still follow. The relationship between Britain and India, I mean, it has gone through ups and downs, and there was a up and down even when we set up the Indo-British Round Table and I was made co-chairman from the British side, and we brought that back again. So this relationship has gone through up and down. However, it has survived, and it is 70 years today, or this year, I mean not today but this year, that we are celebrating, at which I am sure ZTV will be a part. So that kind of relationship, why not do more? We must do more. We must forget the little problems will always come. They come between husband and wife, they come with father and sons, father and children. But people must move on. And that is why I was delighted that as recently as this, both Prime Minister Modi and Mrs. May have decided that let's really build our relation. And fortunately in India, we have a Prime Minister who is really raising the flag. I have only known him 3 years, but I am most impressed. I said even in an interview just 3 weeks ago in Calcutta, somebody asked, 5 years ago I had done an interview and somebody asked me who are the best prime ministers in my view in the history, because I have known prime ministers right from Jawaharlal Nehru onward. That I said Mrs. Gandhi and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. This was 5 years ago. So he asked me, he said, Lord Paul, you said this thing. What is your view of Mr. Modi? My answer was, because it was question answer going on there from the public, I said, you have to give him time, but my view is he is likely to overtake both of them, and I mean it.
Well, he's going to be in office for 3 years. What do you make of his record so far?
Excellent. I mean, I am a great admirer of her. He has raised the profile of Indians. He has raised the profile of India, and I met him just 3 weeks ago, and I think he's marvelous.
What was that meeting like?
Very good. I have had over the last 3 years a few meetings, very positive, very enthusiastic, and just want to get on with the job. I mean, he's a human dynamo with energy-wise.
In the order, as you said, of great Indian leaders, where would you place him?
As I say, look, he has been 3 years. To really assess a person and not sort of rush around, you've got to give him time. Otherwise, you are rushing around. One person was Prime Minister for 15 years. The other person was twice Prime Minister. You can't just, I mean, it will be sort of psychophancy on my part, but I genuinely believe an answer which I gave at that in Calcutta 4 weeks ago, that he has all the signs of being a great Prime Minister.
What do you see India's greatest role on the world stage?
India has the ability to help the world because it has the manpower, it has democracy, and people do not realize it, that democracy is in the blood of Indian people. I'll give you a speech which I did on this Brexit in the House of Lords. I said, I have been for Remain. I am very pro-European. I think it's a mistake that we are getting out. However, and rather in the 90s, I was arguing that we should join Euro. The greatest thing which has happened in Europe is Europe coming together. And it is sad. However, I am a Democrat first, and people of this country have voted, whatever may be the reason. You cannot insult them, because to me, democracy is far more important than a few pounds.
You have a keen interest with relations between East and West. Is there gaps in misunderstanding? What are the greatest challenges?
Oh, there will always be gaps. It's a moving feast. There is nothing you can make that these are the things and you have to start sorting out one by one. Every day there will be issue. As I said, our husband and wife all the time happy. So it's no different. On the other hand, all these issues do get settled. I mean, every day some issue comes. if you can't find a political issue, you find a cricket issue.
Are you a big cricket fan?
I enjoy cricket. Personally, I enjoy watching any game, but to watch a game, I rather see football.
Oh, really? Who do you support?
I support the winner.
Good theory.
Rather, once I did a speech in the MCC, I said, people ask me whether in a match between India and Britain, whom I support. I say I support the winner. Why shouldn't be I be on the winning side?
So people are comparing Modi to Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Do you accept these comparisons?
I find it very difficult to compare people with one with the other who have been in a different era, different circumstances. But as I say, in the quality of a man and what he is committed to, and when you talk to him, you see in him all the signs of coming out to be a great Prime Minister. I hate to make comparisons.
Do you foresee India emerging as a superpower in the near future?
I hope so, because I think it has the potential, but there are a lot of potholes which this thing, life, what happened. In 1996, I stepped down from running the day-to-day business because I had two passions. One was education, and second, because of my daughter, whom I lost, matters of children. I got shot down. So, no point in, you have got to move on.
Do you see India currently moving in the right direction?
You see, Mandy, what is the right direction for a country? What we are looking for at the moment is, Mr. Modi wants the nation to be a player in the world, have a respectability in the world, provide jobs, cut out black money, which incidentally I think he is succeeding. I am deputy chairman of the anti-corruption parliamentary group here. But Mr. Modi is one of the first prime ministers who has made progress, and his biggest achievement so far, in my view, is he has put the fear of God into black market here. And that is a great service to the ordinary man, because in the end, it's the poor man who suffered most.
Relations between India and Pakistan are currently deteriorating. Does that bother you?
It bothers me. I have been a follower of these relations for a very long time. I really don't know how it can be solved. I'm a thorough student of this, and even in the Indo-British Roundtable we have been discussing this. I don't think any country in the world can help this relationship. Rather, those who try are wasting their time and creating more trouble, in my view. And I have said that again in the parliament, that please, both countries are democratic, they are mature, let them sort out the problem. Having said that, it is a very funny situation. It has become a matter of prestige and also of internal politics of both countries. If India settles for a little bit behind the line of control, the Prime Minister would have been in trouble in the country. If Pakistan steps back, the President or the Prime Minister may lose his throat. So sooner or later, some good sense will prevail, and that everybody thinks that let's forget the border and go like the American and Canadian route. Make the border thing. If it will happen, certainly it will not happen in my lifetime. But to me, that is the only solution.
Now, for a change of pace, you are on one of the you are one of the many Indians who are on the Britain's rich list. Why are Indians so successful here?
First of all, I don't really believe on these rich lists. Somebody asked me, who was doing the rich list, he says, how much you are worth? I told him, I say anywhere between 0 to 100,000 pounds. That's about the only kind of money I see. The rest is a dream of the people who write these lists. I don't generally believe in it. And what will I do with money? God has been very kind. I don't have to beg to eat. It has never bothered me. And I tell the richest people, I said, I don't know.
But there are many Indians on this list. Why are they succeeding here in Britain?
I think they are succeeding anywhere. I mean, it's not just that they are succeeding in Britain. Most of the people think they are well off everywhere.
What was your reaction to, do you think, what stands out on the British rich list is the amount of immigrants, people who weren't born here. How important is immigrants to Britain?
It's a great tribute to Britain that an immigrant has as much an opportunity to make it as a local person if he works hard. And we all know immigrants do tend to work hard. That's the kind of question I'm happy to answer.
So what was your reaction to Brexit when it seemed like the vote was overwhelmingly about curbing immigration?
I think you have to really look at it, that you don't look at the economy alone or the opportunity alone. You have a feeling for it, that can you afford that many people? You have to keep in a democracy your voters happy also. And even the immigrants sometimes don't like another immigrant to come. So these are issues which in my view, it has just become unnecessarily a big issue. And it will not get settled. There is no way immigration will stop. Hopefully the economy improves, some of the services start improving. There is a very strong stress on the quality of services. Then people get angry. So it's not just an immigrant question. It's a question which the country, can it afford it? And when you can't afford it, the first target is the immigrant. But don't forget, I am Chancellor of the Wolverhampton University. This Wolverhampton was a constituency of Enoch Powell. Just think that a university like Wolverhampton should come to me to ask me to be the Chancellor. And let me also say that I am the longest living Chancellor of any university in Britain.
Well, for some of our viewers, they might not appreciate Enoch Paul. Of course, he made that famous speech about letting people in the rivers of blood that will be on the streets of Britain. So it is quite a twist of fate that you as an immigrant is the head of it.
That's what I mean.
Now you, as I said, are quite wealthy, but you give a lot of it away to charity. Why?
Well, first of all, right from the beginning, childhood, we were trained that we must learn to share. Secondly, as I say, I came here because of my daughter, and then when she died and when we started, I thought some money of what I earn, I'll put it into a foundation and do some work. And it's nice to be able to share.
Is there a charity in particular that touches you the most?
Mostly children and education, which is connected with the children.
Now you've won.
I'll give you a little brochure of the Ambika Paul Foundation. You'll take it to them.
I'd love to. Now, you've been named the International Indian of the Decade, and you've received also many honors in the past. What do these honors mean to you?
You know, when your own community honors you, it's a wonderful feeling, because the whole community is always the most one to have arrows at you. But a lot of these awards are becoming meaningless, too many awards every year. But it's good to go. It's nice to hear your name. I mean, it means a lot, it means nothing.
And when you're called International Indian, do you feel British? Do you feel Indian? Do you feel both, a global citizen?
Mandy, it's a question which almost 25 years ago, I was doing an interview with BBC World Service, and he asked me the same question. He says, Lord Paul, you talk passionately about India, you have talked passionately about Britain. What percentage you are British and what percentage West? So I said to him, I said, look, I am 100% British and I am 100% Indian. And it is your problem if you can't add up, not mine. Since then, I am known as Mr. 200%. That answer stands absolutely correct even today.
Recent events, we need to talk, the horrific bombing that we saw in Manchester. And there has been a spate of attacks across Europe. And then, of course, there was the Westminster attack as well. Why do you think Britain is a target?
I think the people get misguided. We have a lot of community who are wonderful people. In the end, these issues again have to be settled by discussions and negotiation. These are not going to be settled by this thing, might, by arms, by this thing. And there is a lot of frustration going on. And then it's really like one follows the other. It has in France, why not in Britain? It has happened in Germany, why not in Britain, and vice versa. We have been fortunate in this country that we haven't had that many. And there is a great credit to our intelligence services and our police who have managed to control it. But we still, as a country, must play even a bigger role in trying to see how we can help the world from this terrorism. Terrorism today, in my view, should be looked at a worldwide phenomena which needs to be tackled, not just when it affects your country.
And how do you think?
Negotiation.
Negotiation. To negotiate with who?
There are a lot of people who are some self-styled, some genuine negotiators on their behalf. After all, do I believe that those people only want all the time any trouble? No. So I have a lot of faith that everybody wants to live peacefully. We need to look at that. And mind you, in spite of the fact that I have been in Labour, though I am independent and my heart is with Labour, we have at the moment a very good Prime Minister. She doesn't get excited, she is down to earth, she is concerned about the ordinary man. It's nice to see, the other day I did a tweet, it's nice to hear a Conservative Prime Minister talking about the ordinary person. So I think Britain should play a bigger role towards finding solutions.
And a solution can be found.
It's not a question can be found, it has to be found. So I would like to start from there, not whether it can be found.
Now finally, the I couldn't end an interview without asking about populism and the rise of, Brexit, but also Donald Trump. What do you make of him as president?
I have said it. First of all, last year I was in US on the day the Brexit results came, and a question was asked. The assembly of our workers at management were there, so they asked me the question, and they asked me about this Brexit reaction and that thing. And so they asked me about Donald Trump. I say he will be your primary president. So they were surprised, and they rang me up when the election results came. First, looking at Mr. Trump, he's the only president or prime minister in the world who is delivering so far what he promised. Has he delivered anything? Then once you get to be the president, it's no use holding up any person to what he said in his campaign. In campaign, politicians have only one goal: to win. He sees the pulse every day, what people would like to hear, and make the speech accordingly. And that's what it should be. How many promises David Cameron made here? I mean, you see his speech in Saudi Arabia. You can't find fault with it. It's as good a speech for peacemaking as any. So let's give him time. Let's not judge him. There seems to have a little bit argument between the media and this thing, but that's the kind of a man he is.
I think what some people took issue with is how he talked about Muslims, how he talked about Mexicans, how he talked about women. Do you think we should simply ignore it and just see what he brings to the table?
My view would be, let us see what he does. First of all, you must understand one thing. The people in all countries have lost faith in the politicians. They were saved because the bankers took over that mantle. Otherwise, people had lost faith in didn't believe the politician. So you have to really wait what he does. Otherwise, we can make judgments, etc. My own view is he will deliver much different. And then don't forget, the system also controls you. When you are on your own, you have just a few advisors. When you are a president, you have a hell of a big staff who tell you, Mr. President, this won't go. So let's give him time.
Lord Swraj Paul, thank you very much.
Nice to see you, Mandy. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching World is One. Goodbye.